My name is Chloe. I am 27 years old. I live in a city called Lakeside. It's not too big, not too small. There are tall buildings, busy streets, and a large, beautiful lake where people walk and relax. I work in an office. I am an assistant. My job is okay. It pays the bills. I have a small apartment. It has one bedroom, a small kitchen, and a nice window that looks out onto a quiet street. I like my apartment. It feels safe. Before I met Mark, my life was simple, maybe a little quiet. I worked from Monday to Friday. On weekends, I sometimes visited my parents. They live in a small town 2 hours away. Sometimes I met my friend Lisa for coffee. Lisa is my best friend. We went to school together. She is funny and kind, but mostly I stayed home. I read books. I watched movies. I liked being alone sometimes, but deep inside, I felt a little lonely. I hoped one day I would meet someone special, someone kind, someone honest. One spring, my company sent me to a conference. It was in a big hotel downtown. The conference was about new technology for offices. It was okay, but a little boring for me. Many people were there. They wore suits and looked serious. I felt a little lost. I didn't know many people. During the coffee break on the first day, I stood by the window looking outside. A man came and stood near me. He smiled. "It's a nice view, isn't it?" he said. His voice was warm. I looked at him. He was maybe 35 years old. He had dark hair and kind blue eyes. He wore a nice suit, but he didn't look too serious. He looked friendly. "Yes, it is," I said. I smiled back. "I'm Mark," he said, holding out his hand. "Chloe," I replied, shaking his hand. His hand was warm. I looked at his hand quickly. I don't know why. Maybe it's something I always do. He did not wear a ring. I noticed that. Just a simple watch. We started talking. He asked about my job. I asked about his. He worked for a big company, too. He was smart. He explained things in an easy way. He didn't make me feel small or silly. He listened when I spoke. Really listened. That felt nice. We talked for the whole coffee break. When it was time to go back to the conference room, he said, "Maybe we can talk again later?" "I'd like that," I said. My heart felt a little lighter. During the next 2 days of the conference, Mark and I spent more time together. We sat together during the talks. We had lunch together. He told jokes. He made me laugh. I felt comfortable with him. It felt easy. He asked me about my life, my family, my dreams. I told him I loved reading and walking by the lake. I told him I hoped to travel one day. He said he loved traveling too. He told me about places he had visited: Paris, Rome, Tokyo. It sounded exciting. He never talked much about his family. He mentioned he grew up in another city. He said his parents were older now. He said he was busy with work. I didn't ask too many questions. I didn't want to seem nosy. And I liked talking about other things: dreams, books, the future. It felt nice to connect with someone like that. On the last day of the conference, Mark asked me for my phone number. "I'd like to see you again, Chloe," he said, "outside of this conference." My heart jumped a little. "Yes," I said, "I'd like that too." He smiled, and his eyes looked happy. That night he called me. We talked for almost an hour. It felt natural, like talking to an old friend. The next week he asked me out for dinner. We went to a quiet Italian restaurant. The food was good. The music was soft. Mark looked handsome. He wore a blue shirt that made his eyes look brighter. He told me stories about his work travels. He asked me about my day. He made me feel special. He paid attention to me. When I felt cold, he offered me his jacket. When my water glass was empty, he filled it. Small things, but they meant a lot. He still did not wear a ring. I noticed again, but I didn't think much about it. Maybe he wasn't married. Maybe he was divorced. Maybe he just didn't like wearing rings. It didn't seem important then. We started dating after that. We saw each other 2 or 3 times a week. He always planned nice dates. Sometimes we went to museums. Sometimes we walked by the lake. Sometimes we just stayed in my apartment, cooked dinner together, and watched movies. He was always a gentleman. He opened doors for me. He brought me flowers sometimes. Not big expensive bunches, just a few simple flowers. He said they reminded him of me. He texted me every morning. "Good morning, Chloe. Have a great day." He called me every night before I slept. We talked about our day. Sometimes we talked about silly things. Sometimes we talked about serious things. I started to fall in love with him. It happened slowly, then all at once. He made me feel happy. He made me feel safe. He made me feel loved. I told Lisa about him. Lisa was happy for me. "He sounds wonderful, Chloe," she said. "But be careful, okay? Don't rush things." I smiled and said, "I know. But he feels different." Mark never came to my parents' house with me. When I asked, he said he was busy with work on those weekends. Or he said he wasn't ready to meet parents yet. He said it was too soon. I felt a little sad, but I understood. Or I tried to understand. I wanted him to be comfortable. He didn't invite me to his apartment often. He said it was small and messy because he traveled so much for work. He said my apartment was cozy and he liked being there more. We spent most of our time at my place or out in the city. It seemed okay at the time. I was happy just being with him. We dated for 6 months. 6 happy months. I thought he was the one. I started dreaming about our future. Maybe marriage. Maybe children one day. He was kind, smart, funny, and handsome. He treated me well. What more could I want? He still never wore a ring. It seemed normal now. He was just Mark. My Mark. Then, one Tuesday evening, everything changed. I was at home. I had just finished dinner. I was reading a book on my sofa. My phone rang. I looked at the number. I didn't recognize it. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick it up. "Hello?" I said. A woman's voice answered. It was quiet but clear. "Is this Chloe?" she asked. "Yes, speaking," I replied. "Who is this?" I wondered. There was a pause. Then the woman said words that turned my world upside down. My name is Sarah. I am Mark's wife. My heart stopped. I couldn't breathe. My hand holding the phone started to shake. Wife? I whispered. My voice sounded strange, far away. You must be mistaken. Mark isn't married. The woman sighed. It was a tired sound. No, Chloe, I am not mistaken. We have been married for 10 years. We have 2 children, a son, Ben, who is 8, and a daughter, Lily, who is 5. Children? 10 years? My mind couldn't understand. It felt like a dream, a terrible nightmare. No, I said again, louder this time. That's not possible. He loves me. We are together. He tells you that? Sarah asked. Her voice was sad, not angry. He tells me he travels for work. He tells me he needs space. I found your number in his phone bill. I saw how many times he called you. I had to know. I'm sorry, Chloe, but you needed to know the truth. The truth. The word hit me like a stone. Married, children, lies, all the times he was busy, all the times he couldn't meet my parents, the apartment he never showed me, the ring he never wore. It all crashed down on me. I have to go, I managed to say. My throat was tight. Tears were starting to burn my eyes. I understand, Sarah said softly. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. Then she hung up. I dropped the phone. It clattered on the floor. I sat there on my sofa, frozen. My body was shaking. My mind was racing. Mark, my Mark, was a liar. He had a wife. He had children. Our whole relationship, our dates, our talks, our future dreams. It was all built on lies. Tears started streaming down my face. Hot, angry, painful tears. I felt stupid. So stupid. How could I not see it? Were there signs? Yes. Looking back, there were signs. The missed calls, the weekends he was always busy, the way he avoided talking about his family, the fact he never wore a ring. Maybe that was the biggest sign of all. A deliberate choice to hide his life. I felt betrayed. I felt hurt. I felt like my heart had been ripped out. The man I loved didn't exist. He was a character Mark played, and I was the fool who believed him. I cried for a long time. I curled up on the sofa and sobbed. The small, safe apartment suddenly felt cold and empty. The flowers he gave me last week sat on the table. They looked ugly now. Fake. Just like him. I wanted to call him. I wanted to scream at him. I wanted to ask him why. Why would he do this to me? Why would he do this to his wife? To his children? But I couldn't move. I just lay there. Broken. Later that night, my phone buzzed. It was a text from Mark. Good night, Chloe. Thinking of you. Sweet dreams. Sweet dreams. My whole world was a nightmare. I looked at the message, and anger surged through me. How dare he? How dare he act like everything was normal? I didn't reply. I turned off my phone. I didn't want to hear from him. I didn't want to see his name. I needed to think. But my thoughts were just pain, over and over again. His wife's voice, his lies, my broken heart. The next day, I called Lisa. I could barely speak through my tears. I told her everything. Lisa was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Oh, Chloe, I'm so sorry. That terrible man. I'm coming over right now." Lisa came to my apartment. She hugged me tight. I cried on her shoulder. She didn't say much. She just sat with me. She made me tea. She listened when I talked. She held my hand when I cried. Having her there helped. A little, but the pain was still huge. It felt like a physical weight on my chest. "What should I do, Lisa?" I asked. "You need to talk to him," she said gently. "You need to hear what he has to say. Not for him. For you. So you can close this chapter." I didn't want to see him. The thought made me feel sick. But Lisa was right. I needed closure. I needed to face him. Mark called me that day. I didn't answer. He texted me, "Are you okay? I haven't heard from you." I didn't reply. He called again in the evening. This time I answered. My voice was cold. "Chloe, finally, are you all right? I was worried," he said. His voice sounded normal. Caring. It made me angry. "We need to talk, Mark," I said. My voice didn't shake. I surprised myself. "Okay," he said. "Is everything all right? You sound strange." "Meet me tomorrow, at the cafe near my office. Lunchtime." I said. "Sure," he said. "I'll be there. Chloe, I hung up before he could say more. I couldn't listen to his fake concern. The next day felt like the longest day of my life. I went to work, but I couldn't focus. My hands trembled. My mind kept replaying the phone call with Sarah. By lunchtime, I felt sick, but I walked to the cafe. Mark was already there. He sat at a table by the window. He smiled when he saw me. That smile, the smile I used to love. Now it just looked like a mask. I sat down opposite him. I didn't smile back. "Chloe, what's wrong?" he asked, reaching across the table for my hand. I pulled my hand away. His smile faded. "Okay," he said slowly. "Talk to me." I looked him straight in the eyes. "I got a phone call yesterday, Mark." He looked confused. "A phone call? From who?" "From Sarah," I said. I watched his face. His eyes widened slightly. The color drained from his face. He looked down at his hands on the table. He knew. He knew exactly who Sarah was. He didn't say anything for a long moment. The silence in the busy cafe felt loud. "She called you?" he finally whispered, still not looking at me. "Yes," I said. "She told me everything. About your marriage. About your children." He closed his eyes briefly. He took a deep breath. Then he looked up at me. His eyes were full of something I couldn't read. Was it shame? Regret? Or just fear of being caught? "Chloe, I am so sorry," he stammered. I never wanted you to find out like this. You never wanted me to find out at all, I said, my voice rising a little. People at the next table looked over. I lowered my voice, but the anger was burning inside me. You lied to me, Mark, for 6 months. You let me fall in love with you. You talked about a future. Was any of it real? Yes, he said quickly. My feelings for you are real, Chloe. I swear. I fell in love with you. That wasn't a lie. Love? I scoffed. How can you talk about love? You have a wife. You have children. What you did wasn't love. It was selfish. It was cruel. My marriage... It's complicated, he started. Sarah and I, we haven't been happy for years. We live like roommates. We stay together for the kids, that's all. Did you tell her that? I asked. Or did you just lie to her too? Did she know you were dating someone else? He looked away again. No, he admitted quietly. So you lied to everyone, I said, feeling a fresh wave of pain. You lied to me. You lied to your wife. You probably lie to your children too. Who are you, Mark? Do you even know? He reached for my hand again. Chloe, please, let me explain. I was planning to tell you. I didn't know how. I was afraid of losing you, being with you. It was the only time I felt happy. You make me happy. And what about my happiness? I cried, pulling my hand back sharply. Did you ever think about that? Did you think about what would happen when I found out? Did you think about how much this would hurt? He looked down, shaking his head slowly. I didn't think, he mumbled. I was selfish. I know that now. I messed up badly. But please, don't hate me. Hate him? Yes, I hated what he did. But looking at him now, looking small and broken, I mostly felt pity and a deep, aching sadness for the love I thought we had. I can't do this, Mark, I said, my voice trembling but firm. I can't be with someone who lies like this. I can't be your secret. I deserve more than that. Your wife deserves more than that. Your children deserve more than that. Tears welled up in his eyes. So this is it? You're ending it? There's nothing to end, Mark, I said quietly. Because it was never real. It was based on lies. Goodbye. I stood up. My legs felt weak, but I made myself walk away. I didn't look back. I walked out of the cafe, out into the busy street. Tears were streaming down my face, but I kept walking. I walked back to my office, went straight to the restroom, and locked myself in a stall. I cried until I had no tears left. The days that followed were a blur. I went to work, I came home, I ate little, I slept poorly. Mark tried to contact me. He called, he texted, he sent emails, apologies, excuses, promises to change, promises to leave his wife. I didn't believe him. I blocked his number. I blocked his email. I needed him out of my life completely. Lisa was my rock. She checked on me every day. She brought me food. She dragged me out for walks even when I didn't want to go. My parents called. I told them a simpler version, that Mark and I broke up, that he wasn't the right person. They were sad for me, but supportive. Healing was slow, very slow. Some days I felt angry. I wanted to scream. Other days, I just felt empty, numb. I replayed everything in my mind. The good moments. The lies. I wondered how I could have been so blind. Loneliness, I realized. I was lonely, and he made me feel seen. I wanted love so badly that I ignored the small voice inside me that sometimes whispered, "Something isn't right." I learned a hard lesson. Never ignore that voice. Trust your intuition, and know your worth. I was worth more than being someone's secret. I deserved honesty. I deserved a love that was open and real. Slowly, very slowly, I started to feel a little better. I started reading again. I started walking by the lake again. The water was calm. It helped me feel calm too. I started spending more time with Lisa. We went to the movies. We tried new cafes. We laughed again. It felt good to laugh. I never heard from Sarah again. I hoped she was okay. I hoped she found some peace too. She didn't deserve what Mark did to her either. I thought about her sometimes, another victim of his lies. Months passed. Winter turned into spring again. The trees got new leaves. The flowers started to bloom. I felt like I was slowly blooming again, too. I wasn't fully healed. The scar was still there. But it didn't hurt all the time anymore. One Saturday morning, Lisa dragged me to a pottery class. "Come on, Chloe," she said. "It will be fun. Get your hands dirty. Make something." I didn't really want to go, but I went for her. The class was in a bright studio filled with clay and spinning wheels. It smelled earthy. I sat down at a wheel feeling awkward. The teacher showed us how to shape the clay. It was harder than it looked. My first few attempts were wobbly messes. I laughed at myself. Lisa laughed too. There was a man sitting across from me. He was also struggling with his clay. He had kind eyes and a dusting of clay on his cheek. He looked over at my lopsided pot and smiled. "Looks like we're in the same boat," he said. I smiled back. "Looks like it." "I'm Tom," he said. "Chloe," I replied. We didn't talk much more during the class. We were too busy trying to make something that resembled a bowl. But after class, as we were washing the clay off our hands, he asked, "Do you come here often?" "No, this is my first time," I said. "Mine too," he said. "Maybe we'll get better next week." "Maybe," I laughed. It was just a small moment, a simple conversation, but it felt different. There were no games, no lies, just two people laughing about messy clay. I didn't know if I would see Tom again. I didn't know if I was ready to even think about dating. But for the first time in a long time, the thought didn't fill me with fear. It filled me with a tiny spark of hope. I realized that Mark hadn't broken me. He hurt me, yes, deeply. But he didn't destroy my ability to trust or to hope. He taught me a painful lesson about lies, but he also taught me about my own strength. I survived. I was healing. and I was ready to build my own future, one based on truth and self-respect. Life doesn't always give us easy paths. Sometimes we meet people who hurt us. Sometimes we make mistakes. We trust the wrong people. We ignore the signs. But those experiences can make us stronger. They teach us what we truly want and what we deserve. I learned that love should not make you feel small or secret. Real love is honest. It is open. It respects you. And it doesn't need to hide. The ring he never wore wasn't just a piece of metal. It was a symbol of the truth he hid. A truth I eventually found. And finding that truth, as painful as it was, set me free. Now I focus on myself, my work, my friends, my hobbies, that pottery class. I kept going. Tom was there too. We became friends. We talk. We laugh. It's slow. It's simple. And it feels real. I don't know what the future holds, but I know I am okay. I am strong, and I will never again settle for a love that hides in the shadows. If you are listening to my story, maybe you have been hurt too. Maybe someone lied to you. Maybe you feel broken. Please know this. You are not alone. It is okay to feel pain. It is okay to take time to heal. But don't let that pain define you. You are strong. You are worthy of honesty and real love. Don't ever forget that. Keep moving forward. One small step at a time. You can find your happiness again. You deserve it.